Yo, 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 what is going on, IK fam? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. We are back again, giving y'all what may just be somewhat of a lackluster update, but I felt the need to at least still talk about it. So we're going to be covering and just showing you a little bit of what's happening here in server 97, and then give you our take on how things are going at the moment, as it does look like they are finally going to be getting started for their contention of relics round 1. As you can see here, it says preparing for battle, meaning that we're going to see something here today at reset, and then we'll of course cover kind of how COR goes, because this really is the culmination of their limited test event that they're running here in server 97 after they opened it to the additional Asia regions, and then going with their faction versus faction / content creator promotion for each that you see here for red, blue, and green, right? Red kind of being more Asia, green being a little bit more China for some of the region cities that it did unlock there. And then of course we kind of have the NA, I don't even know if I'd say Canada, but just NA representation here for blue. Now, if we're taking a look at the leaderboards just to see how things are panning out, it is pretty consistent, right? Even though Hope from, I actually had a chance to talk to Nee, who's the lead here, pretty nice guy, and he speaks, I believe it's Chinese when I was talking to him, but I still kind of tie that in to the Reds a little bit. It's not too far off where you're gonna say to themselves, oh, they're really going to band together with Blue and others, right? Even though, again, shout out to Worthy Prince here for, being able to kind of keep that high placing there in the blue. And I think he's the highest outside of TCW, again, which could be another Asian alliance as well. So, again, you just see the server trending in the direction of kind of what we talked about before, which is that there's just a lot of players that came in from a lot of the international regions, with the majority of those predominantly being Asian-based. And now you just kind of see a lot of the map is red, a little green, less is blue, and it's really going in that direction where red is probably just going to up and run away with COR1, and then we'll see if Z or maybe Echo ends up taking it when it goes into the phases, and then along with who's going to be Crown King. Now, again, we don't really know. I mean, you could make the argument that maybe Z might be it, just because, again, you got the commander, or I shouldn't say the commander, but you got Commander Zico, one of the YouTubers here, who is running that. I don't know if there's one that is running this, along with, I haven't actually tried Echo. Maybe there is. I don't know if there is. I guess we'll have to see if they end up posting anything about it later. But, I mean, again, you could make a soft guess that Z might take the first COR, depending who they give it to. Maybe they'll just have a free-for-all with Reds. I think in all, when you look at how this event went in its entirety, right, the way I would really sum it up so far, right, and again, even if you look at some of the rankings, like look at Lord Honor, right, again, Boss Baby here in Echo, right, Jestar was number 1, and I think he just got passed up there, but still, shout out to Jez, who's been just an absolute champ in S97. Again, even Lord Power, you got a few people that are already, 2 people above a mil already, and it hasn't even hit COR1. That is incredibly fast, which means they have to be spending a decent amount of money. You got a guy here that's almost 200k troop power, and bear in mind, the server has only been open for 22 days. I mean, that possibly could be some kind of record for Lord Power. And again, remember, no jumpers, right? So these are day 1 a la carte. Get your green vanilla foundation builds, because that's really what they did, and it's wild. Again, a lot of activity. We'll see how things continue to play out. I do like, however, this, and this is something I've touched on before. I like the fact that they have this icon button here that shows up for every single player, because I think about what that can do for the game if they do future events. Even if they release something for SVS, they can do like an SVS button that kind of gives you previews on other group matches. I mean, there's really cool things. They could do this for TOTS, right? When TOTS kind of gets to its final rounds, you can have a dedicated icon button here where it allows for people to go in and check and see how the final rounds are doing, or even the final round, right? So I think there's really cool future implications that can be used from some of the mechanics that we're seeing implemented or introduced from this event. However, The one thing I will always say, as I said in my previous video on this, is that at when you're looking at the build-up for the event, right, I would say, one, it definitely was lackluster and kind of poorly marketed as far as ahead of time, specifically for what the event actually was and is to more of the U.S.-based players. And I would almost argue for everyone, though we don't really know if, I don't really know myself how much they promoted it or marketed it on the other side of the regions to the other two factions, but at least for the blue kind of NA faction, we didn't really hear anything about it. There wasn't enough explanation, enough details that went into it on the top of them nullifying jumpers. In my opinion, like I said before, I really thought them leaving the jumping window open would have been so much better. And at least would have provided maybe a little bit more, if not a sprinkle more of competition, possibly. But I still think even if they did, regardless, the same end result most likely was going to play out, based on the influx of players and how much some of those players, or maybe even a good amount of them, are spending as well on the game. With all of that in mind, these are just my thoughts on the event. I kind of always walked into it as it was really just a means to an end, right? The path was already set on what we were going to see for 97. It was already just without a doubt going to be red, most likely. Maybe green could have been a close second, but blue was just never going to have a chance. And though I like the idea of the event, I think the execution, the build-up for the event could have been better, if not a good amount better, with that being said. Out of that, let me know what you guys think on the event. Again, we'll cover this while COR goes on up until when COR finishes. And then we'll probably wrap up 97 and maybe check in a little bit later. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, right? Do you agree? Do you disagree with my assessment? Do you find something different? Do you think there's some good takeaways? There's not? Let me know anything and everything you guys are thinking in those comments down below. That is it for me. A short one today, or for Saturday. Until next time, we will catch y'all later.